So good. And like my favorite track is it's called Fear Factory. It's actually the background music for the factory levels. And actually, if you use those Kremlings to get on top of these trees, you can avoid most of the difficulty of this level, which is of course the barrels. You just have to make sure to get on top of that tree and jump in the barrel that's up there. But I'm not going for 101%. I think that's the highest you can get in the first game. I'm just going for, you know, above average, an above average score. So I'll try to get bonus rooms for those of you who want to know where they are. If I already know where they are. If I don't, then I'm just gonna complete the level. But shit. Let me go get that DK barrel. But yeah, this was my very first game. So that's why it's mainly really nostalgic for me, and you know, a lot of, you know, everyone is entitled to like their own favorite, I guess, and this one just happens to be mine. So yeah, it's a traditional platformer, I guess. I'll use the word traditional here. You know, one of the main draws of the game, for me though, I mean, the graphics are beautiful. I mean, of course, it's not. Oh shit! It's not gonna age, you know, quite like a fine wine. But imagine this was released 18 years ago, and 18 years ago this was amazing. And if any of you play Mario hacks, I mean, you'll come to notice that a lot of the background for some levels, like mainly, like I see a lot of the lake from Donkey Kong Country 3 being used, the mountains from the Snow World, you know, are used in Mario hacks. So graphically, I think the game is great, and musically, it's very good. I think David Weiss also composed this track. I could be wrong. I don't really know which tracks Robert Beaton composed. He may have did Funky's Flights and one other one, I'm not sure. But yeah, this is the first boss. His name is Naughty. Herds are clever spelling on words. He's not too difficult. I mean, the first difficult boss you'll fight is maybe the boss of the Snow World, but other than that, all of these bosses are a piece of cake. With the exception of the final boss, he can be a little tricky, but you know, it's doable. It's a very doable game. A good investment for if you have an extra $10 lying around. You can buy it on the virtual console. I'm playing it on ROM, but I actually own and I still have my original cartridge. It still works actually. I could have actually probably played it on my Super Nintendo as opposed to doing it on ROM, but I don't have any capturing devices. Like, oh shit, I don't know the name of it. It starts with an H, like the new one that those LPers use. It's like the Halpenstauder. I'm just probably like making up words here. Shit. No, Winky. But yeah, I don't have any kind of recording or capture card, so I figured, you know, as a beginner's, I guess, a beginning to my Let's Playing career, I would just do something easy to record. Oh yeah, this is a good secret. If you jump over the barrel, it takes you right to the end of the level. So if you don't feel like doing this level, you can just skip it for the most part. The only thing you have to worry about is that gremlin at the end, but he's not that big of a deal. But I will go through the actual level just to show you what it looks like. This level always used to give me trouble when I was younger. I remember coming home from school one day, and one of my best friends at the time, his name was Richie. Whenever we got to the minecart level, I would always stand up to play it, and he thought that was my secret to winning, was standing up. So he'd like stand up just to try and beat the level like me. I know it was weird. I mean, when you're a kid, you have weird strategies of thinking. Or, well, weird ways of thinking and strategies to help you play games to make you, quote-unquote, win. could be that I just happened to not do bad during that particular run. But yeah, that balloon is kind of hard to get. What you want to do is you want to tap B and not hold it down. If you hold down B, you jump further. Pretty easy. I know these tips are super pro tips for a game that's 18 years old, but I mean, when I was young, I didn't know how to get those balloons. I mean, I'd always miss it and shit. Yeah, the first two worlds are a piece of cake. This part can be tricky sometimes if you're not expecting it or unprepared for it. But yeah, the Congo, I think it said Congo Jungle was the name of the first world, and this is like Misty Mines or something. I'll have to look again whenever we go to the overworld. But they're not very difficult. They're borderline face roll. I mean, I have like 31 lives right now. These first three worlds are actually really nice for picking up extra lives, just because oh, there's a secret down there that I forgot to get. Yeah, they're basically good for picking up extra lives. I mean, you really don't start dying until you get to the Kremrock Industries, which I think is World 4 in this game. That's when things start getting a little more challenging, just because the design gets a little bit more obnoxious with like floating oil drums and floating oil drums and like blackout basement where you can't see where you're jumping and you might like mess up. The enemies are invisible, but you're visible. You know, kind of gotcha gameplay. Like, oh shit, like cheap, like making cheap difficulty, I guess. But I really don't care. I mean, I love those levels. Probably my favorite world is Kremrock Industries. I mean, the water level in that world is so fucking annoying. But you guys will see that when we get to it. I say it's annoying now, but I say it with a loving fondness that you would find an annoying cousin that you like can't stand to see, but you love them. Like you love them, but you just don't like to be around them. That kind of situation. So yeah, pretty easy. And having any of the animals that you can find throughout the game with you makes it even more trivial. Just because they're pretty overpowered. I mean, I say overpowered, but I mean, you can still lose them, and then, it becomes quote-unquote challenging again. Yeah, nothing too exciting these first couple of worlds. It doesn't really yeah, that's fucking intelligent. The game doesn't really get going until maybe World 3, which is one of my favorite worlds, actually. Pretty much World 3 and 4 are my favorites, and then wait, I'm saying that wrong. World 3 is a forest, I forget what it's called. World 4 is the snow world, and World 5 is Kremrock Industries. So 4 and 5 are my favorites, and then like World 6 is just kind of obnoxious, annoying levels that I don't remember fondly because they're a pain in the ass. They're not overly difficult, it's just they're annoying. But we'll get there soon enough. I think they're called the Gym Caverns, I'm not quite sure, but there are some pretty obnoxious levels. Particularly the last one before that world's boss is kind of annoying. I mean, there are platforms that you have to time perfectly, and you don't have to time them, but what comes is the most annoying regular enemy is in that level, and he's in it a lot. Like, there's this enemy called Crusher, and there's a blue version and a gray version, and the gray version can only be killed by hitting it with barrels or kegs. So, as you can imagine, they put gray Crushers on these floating platforms that you step on, and you have to make sure to hurry up and grab the barrel, hit it, so that you don't try to jump on it and fall off. I mean, I'm sure there'll be many derpy moments of me on that level when we get to it, but these levels are so trivial. I mean, like, the challenge for me in this part is coming up with things to say while I do it, just because, yeah, there's not a whole lot going on. Oh, I forgot to show you guys because I went and did the whole thing. But if you enter Stop and Go Station, you can immediately walk right back, or yeah, like walk right out, and it takes you to the end of the game, just like in Minecart Madness. So if you didn't want to do this level, you could skip it too. But it's easy enough. I mean, it was hard when I was younger.